Hello. So, I'm starting my stream a little bit differently than I normally do because I don't know. I'm a little bit upset, and I guess it's also like something that is easy to talk about, like a good conversation starter. Because I'm playing the acceptance level in Ascend or in Ascend is nigh, and the end is nigh for like the fifth stream in a row at this point. I mean, technically not in a row since I didn't yesterday, but whatever. Basically in a row. This this right here. Um, yeah. Okay. So I can't pronounce it. I'm pretty sure it's Chinese, not Japanese. If it's some other language, I am welcome to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure it's Chinese. And yeah, I implore anyone who has the capabilities of typing these characters out easily to go ahead and search what this song sounds like, because I'm not gonna play it on my stream because it is copywritten content. But apparently it doesn't even matter if you play that song on your stream or not, because as soon as you put it up on YouTube, it'll be flagged regardless. Because that's just what YouTube is like, I guess. So I want to be very clear, because I'm sure that not many people are going to care to actually search what that song is. But, you know what, I might, like, on the YouTube video for this stream, I may, like, put the link to that video in the comment section or something, so it's easy to find. So you can actually compare how ridiculous this is. But, that song, which name I just put up on screen and removed, got flagged for this part of the stream that I was playing everything at the end of time. This is the clip right here. This clip got flagged. Thank you. I didn't want to keep. It's like barely anything. It's like barely even, like, no offense to everything at the end of time, but like kind of the whole point of the album is that it gets to a point where it's kind of ethereal and things fall apart. So it's not really a coherent regular song at that point, especially not in that clip. That clip is just like echoey. There's like hardly any actual like rhythm to it. It's like all loosey goosey. But the song that was flagged, or the song that it was flagged as, is like, again, I'm assuming Chinese, but it's like a Chinese rap song. And like, I just don't understand how that possibly could have flagged this moment. Like, it. I just know the gist. Like, there's fucking nothing there. I don't get it. It was flagged by the copyright owners, Merlin, Enway Music, on behalf of NetEase Cloud. Very cool. I also love, like, I don't care about monetization. Like, I'm not monetizing. I mean, like, I guess I don't even have monetization unlocked on my YouTube account, so it's not something I can even do if I wanted to. But, like, even if I did, they're VODs. I don't really care about the monetization. So it's not the monetization that really bothers me, but it's just like the principle. Like, if I did care, like if I did put out a video that I actually wanted to monetize, or like, I can't imagine what it's like if people actually try and make a living on YouTube, because like it's not the song. It's not the song. And your only options to dispute it are if you have the rights, which, like, I don't know. In most situations, you probably should always have the rights to whatever you're playing, but I don't in this case. Like, I don't have the rights to everything at the end of time. But neither does fucking Merlin in-way music, you know? They're flagging something that's not even the right song. But yeah, your only option to dispute is it says, do you have the rights to this content? Which no. But like neither do they, you know? It's so fucking stupid. So yeah, anyways, that's YouTube, I guess. I just saw it, like, I knew. I guess, I don't know, maybe I didn't know. I was assuming that, that in all likelihood, that stream probably would get a copyright strike. Oh, what? You can go... Oh, they got the dials up to 11! Classic. Anyways. I really did expect that, that stream was going to get flagged on YouTube, and I would deal with the consequences if it was, like, if I needed to. I even say in that stream, like, I don't mind taking the video down if, the caretaker, I forget the guy's actual name, but, it's attributed to the caretaker. If, like, the actual creator of the music, was upset with my use of it, I would take the video down. And I would have no issues with that. But the fact that, like, it just got caught by one of those, like, automatic YouTube systems that just exist to steal money is so fucking ridiculous. Because it's not just that, like, I would lose the monetization on the video. It's that the people who flagged it get the monetization for the video. It's just such a busted system. And, like, I've gone on record as defending DMCA because, like, I don't know. I guess it's not really so much that I defend DMCA, because that's not the case. It's more so just, like, I don't defend a lot of people who abuse or, like, flaunt the use of DMCA. Because, like, especially on Twitch, like, when it was a big deal and people were upset about it, like, the majority of the people that were getting in trouble for DMCA stuff... Oh, start timer. The majority of the people who were getting upset over DMCA stuff were people who, like, completely kind of deserved it. Like, you really shouldn't just constantly treat your stream as, like, an always-on radio playing copywritten content you don't have the rights to. But, no, I don't necessarily... stand by everything DMCA does either. It's like, I don't know. It's really not that bad. Like, I did not get a flag on the stream itself. Like, Twitch did not automatically flag that stream, but YouTube did. I don't know why it's so much worse on YouTube. I guess it's just because, like, YouTube actually lets them monetize it, whereas Twitch, like, if you get a DMCA strike on Twitch, the only thing it makes you do is delete the content. So I guess that's the biggest difference, is that, like, YouTube is not only, like, defending copyright holders, but it's also kind of letting them take advantage of people, in a way. It's just, I don't know, man. Like, I don't have any sort of, like, I don't have any skin in the game, you know? Like, I don't really care about the monetization on YouTube. So, it's not like it personally affects me or anything, but, like, seeing it personally for the first time, really, I guess I just didn't really understand how bad it was, because, like, it's seriously, like, a 15-second clip on a YouTube video. It's not even the right song, but the person who claimed it gets all the monetization for the video. And I have, like, no way of disputing it. And even if I did dispute it, even if I did have the rights, like, I don't know. I just, from seeing other people talk about it, it seems like it's kind of a painful process, and it usually just isn't even worth it. But that's kind of the state of things, I guess. Got, like, way too heated right at the start of the stream. I'm not going to be able to match that level of energy for the entire thing. Because it's just going to be a lot of this. Hopefully I get somewhere, though. Like, I've had so many attempts that that made it, like, really far recently that I say this every single time, but for real now. Because I think I've seen, or I hope I've seen, the majority of what's on offer now. I've gotten to the final area, and I've seen 3 screens? Maybe 4 screens? Dude, I'm sucking in the first area, though. So, I have no idea how many screens are in that last area, but I have to imagine I'm very close to the end. So, and I've got a good understanding of what I'm supposed to do and all of the screens that I have seen at this point. I think if I can make it there, that's all I need at this point. It's all I need. But I don't know, YouTube's like... they're like so anti-user friendly at this point, and they really do very little to try and help that. Like, the only times YouTube will ever back down on something is if just a disgustingly large channel complains about it on Twitter, is usually the case. It usually just kind of goes by the wayside and they get away with it all the time. But I don't know, even some cases in the past, when, like, thousands of people have been angry at YouTube, nothing has been done. They're just kind of, like, all in on that we're a shitty company kind of deal. Because, I don't know, there's not, like, a serious competitor for YouTube. Like, Dailymotion? Like, Vimeo, you know? Like, I don't know. There are other places. Newgrounds? Maybe? But... yeah, I don't know. Especially, like, it's kind of at, like, Facebook levels, where even when there are competitors, it's just like they've already been around for so long. It's like the Google syndrome, you know? Like, even if a search engine came out that was better than Google, which would definitely... I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some people like Bing, right? But it's... like, YouTube just has, like a search engine is kind of special, because you actually need, like, a lot of money to, but there's also, like, downsides that come with that much money, and that... well, I don't know, I don't want to get into that necessarily, but... anyways, it's got the YouTube syndrome, where because it's been around for so long, and... or did I say YouTube syndrome? Google syndrome. Because it's been around for so long, and is, like, so instantly recognizable by people, it's just treated as, like, the default that will always be there. Like, YouTube would have to just, like, abysmally mess up somehow for it to not be in that default kind of state. Because, I don't know, the majority of people who use YouTube don't really care about any of the TMCA drama or any of that kind of thing. It's kind of like a very niche area to complain about. In fact, like, I don't know. Yeah, like, YouTube is so widespreading, and, like, it's only a very, very small sample size that actually make a living off of YouTube. And, like, most people don't nowadays anyways. Most people just go the route of, like, a Patreon account or other ways of monetizing themselves, but it's, yeah, I guess it's kind of like I see it from the bubble perspective, and I don't really think about the fact that, like, yeah, YouTube kinda can get away with not really caring about, like, the kind of complaints that internet people see daily. If you watch YouTubers or anything. Because, like, why should they care? I mean, like, I am of the opinion that they should care, because, like, I don't know. It is, like, a large subset of like, daily uploads on YouTube are people who complain about this kind of thing. And it's kind of, like, super scummy to just be like, well, you know, we won't make as much money if we don't please, like, the massive sponsors, so... But at the same time, I guess I can understand... Oh, shit, I forgot I have to run. There you go. I see the reasoning for why they're shitty about it. I might not agree with it, but I definitely see where they're coming from, I guess. Real attempt incoming? Never mind. I thought he would juke down way sooner than that. To die on that screen hurts a bit, because I don't even remember the last time I died on that screen. I don't think the entire last time I streamed this, I died on that screen. I got so consistent at it. But, you know, it comes and goes, I guess. I mean, Twitch is kinda, I mean, more so recently with the DMCA stuff, because that was fairly recently. Has been leaning more towards that side of things, and like the advertisement stuff too was really bad, where Twitch was just like, we're gonna play ads randomly without your say in it. It's like especially shitty to like people starting out, because like I have never run an ad on my stream intentionally, and I probably won't for the foreseeable future. I'm not gonna say I never will, because, like, you know, it seems like a bad business decision to make that promise at this stage. But, no, yeah, there's no reason to when you're starting out streaming, like, at all, because, like, I'm gonna make, like, literally 0 pennies off of running advertisements. And in the case that people were actually watching and enjoying the content, like, if you run a 3-minute ad break, it's like, it's such an easy opportunity for people to look at their followers list and be like, oh, actually, why don't I just, like, dip over to this other content that's not currently running advertisements. It's volatile, you know? You gotta be a little bit careful with it. But, yeah, Twitch, I mean, it's good that they backed down on that, to some degree, but, I don't know. You always have to be a little bit wary about, like, a buyout like Amazon that happened, what is it, like 3 or 4 years ago Twitch was bought out by Amazon? It's definitely come with perks, for sure. Like, I mean, Twitch Prime is, you know, it's not like I've exactly been reaping the benefits of it. I do, I mean, my mom has Amazon Prime. I haven't linked it to my Twitch because, like, you know, I'm not going to be living with my mom forever, and I was, like, afraid that it would be a hassle to unlink the account in the future, so I've just never linked it, in case, like, I'm, you know, I've got things to say about Amazon for sure, but in all likelihood, I will probably get Amazon Prime in the future of my own. Sue me. And by sue me, I mean, I don't know, eat me? Eat the rich or something? But yeah, I don't know, man. While, at the beginnings, it seemed like it could only be good that Twitch was bought out. I mean, people were scared, for sure, because, like, I don't know. I guess if you're already established on a platform like Twitch and there's a major buyout, it's always kind of concerning as to what's going to happen. But they did basically nothing for, like, a solid year or so. I think, like, fairly early on, they introduced Twitch Prime as a thing. They got rid of... What was the old Twitch thing? It was just, like, Twitch Extreme. The thing with, like, the battery symbol badge. Whatever that thing was, they removed that along with the introduction of Twitch Prime. I mean, Twitch Prime is just, like, better in every way. Like, it just has more benefits. I think it might be more expensive than whatever the old Twitch paid membership was, but anyways. It's basically, I mean, you also get all of the other benefits of Amazon Prime, but whatever. And I mean, like, for creators on the platform, Twitch Prime was, like, the sickest deal of all time, because it's just, like, you know, to some degree, Amazon paying out into your own pockets so that you can, like, give it to... But it's kind of a weird thing, because, like, you know... I guess from a consumer side, you're like, oh my god, Jeffy's given me $5 for me to spend on any streamer I like? But, I mean, you kind of realize it's more just like, he's paying $2.50 or maybe slightly more if they're a more popular streamer to the streamers directly. Because, like, there's no... like, it doesn't cost Twitch anything to give you the emotes or any of the rewards. I guess if the stream, like, blocks advertisements when you have a subscription, Twitch does kind of lose out monetarily a little bit, but, like, the AdSense from, like, one person watching an advertisement is so microscopically small that, it's probably not a net loss for them in the end. It's just like whatever they pay the streamer directly. But outside of that, like, the obvious effects of the Amazon buyout are things that are, like, a lot more anti-consumer friendly and anti-streamer friendly in way of just forcing ads upon people when not even the streamer wants it. And also, like, the DMCA stuff. But I don't know, the DMCA stuff was just bound to happen, at least with the ways the laws are currently set up. It's just not surprising, and I don't know, like, so many people were outraged, like, how could you do this, Twitch? What have you done? It was inevitable, like, as the company grew, and especially with the buyout. Like, you had to see it coming at some point. I'm surprised it took as long as it did, honestly. But I don't know, it's also a weird spot where, like, Twitch is, like, super, super heavy on the DMCA stuff, where I don't know the exact metrics of it, but, like, at least from what I've seen people reacting about it, because, like, you know, I don't play DMCA stuff on my stream pretty much ever. I did it, like, during 2 map streams, and one of the VODs I deleted instantly. But, yeah, I've never gotten, like, notified by Twitch, so I don't actually know what the repercussions are personally. But I assume it's just, like, after enough fuck-ups, if you don't, like, delete the copywritten content immediately, they'll just terminate your channel or something, or at least get, like, a temp ban. But, I mean, even that, like, I don't know, that just seems understandable. Compared to YouTube, where they, like, sap all of your fucking earnings for whatever content you created. Like, the outrage would be so much worse if, like, Twitch was like, oh yeah, well, all of the ad revenue you made from that VOD, all of the donations, bits, whatever. I mean, I don't think they could do donations, but they could be like, yeah, all the bits you earn, all the subscriptions you earn during that stream, go to whoever the rights holder is for that music you played. But instead, it's just like, no, just delete the videos, or we'll delete you, which seems fair to me. Like, it really doesn't seem that messed up. I know a lot of people were upset about it because they had, like, years of VODs built up on Twitch exclusively and didn't have them exported to YouTube or anything, which I can see how that would be upsetting. Especially when there were false positives. Not as many as YouTube throws out, I don't believe, but I saw some people that were like, oh yeah, you know, this was flagged for playing music that wasn't even playing or whatever. Like, I don't doubt that it had happened over the, you know, thousands and thousands of VODs that got flagged. I would believe if a few of those were false positives. But still, it seems fair. Like, Twitch has done it in a much more fair way than YouTube does it. At least from the way I see it. So, it just felt particularly whiny that people were complaining about it. And, like, you can still play copywritten content on your stream if you really fucking want to. Just delete the VOD afterwards. Like, I guess the only thing that doesn't really make sense to me is... I mean, do they still have it mute music on VODs? Cause like I don't get that part of it. Like if you're going to mute the music on VODs, but also tell people to delete the content, like why mute it in the first place, you know? Like if you want it gone, you want it gone. I don't get like why they, I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe they just did it at first because they were like, well, let's see if this will appease them, you know, kind of deal. But apparently it did not, so they had to double down a little bit harder. But it seems kind of weird that they do both of those things still. I mean, maybe they don't. Like I said, I don't really play music on my stream, so I can't tell if it gets muted anymore or not. I don't really watch streamers that play copyrighted music either, so maybe they don't do the whole muting thing anymore. But yeah, I don't know. I think the weirdest part is that like Twitch is so secure about music rights now, and then like pretty much without fail, you go on the Twitch front page, like 50% of the time they're gonna try and autoplay copywritten music directly to you. I know they own the rights in that case, but it's still like, still a little weird to me to like have such a trying to be music forward platform, but be overly protective about the music. But still, it just makes sense to me. I don't know. I guess the thing that mainly doesn't make sense to me about the Twitch music thing is like I don't get why those streams have so many views. Cause like, who is going to Twitch for like music? Am I crazy? Am I the boomer in this situation? I'm just like, I definitely am the boomer when it comes to playing music, first off. Like, I pretty much just, like, have playlists on YouTube that I listen to. I don't have a Spotify account or anything, so I'm 80 years old, apparently. But I am even more confused by the prospect of going to twitch.tv to listen to music. I have to imagine it's just because it's front page, right? And I don't even know, like, what happens on those streams either. Like, I just tune them out immediately. Like, they just make me mad because they autoplay. I do have FFZ, and I have FFZ set to not have the front page autoplay, but it still autoplays for like a few seconds before the plugin takes control. So like, yeah, I just like immediately associate the Twitch front page with making me angry. And yeah, I will never give like a Twitch music stream any sort of attention. So I don't really understand what goes on it. Like, I surely, like, the music being played is not exclusively music being made by that creator. Like, I don't think so. At least that's not what it looks like. It's usually just, like, someone dancing with, like, seemingly incredibly copywritten, like, radio bait music. I don't know. Is radio bait a term? It just seems like the kind of music that you'd hear on the radio. It's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna be one of those elitists who's like, ew, radio music. But I kinda do think ew, radio music, just internally. I don't talk about it out loud. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? I was like a solid 2 blocks off the screen there, and it didn't give me the screen transition. I mean, I should have been more safe about that, but that's still really stupid. Whatever. For like the maybe one person who actually tuned in live to that stream where I played music I like, they know my real tastes. It's not, I mean, I'm not, like, it's also weird because I'm not the kind of guy who's, like, born in the wrong generation, but I do like, you know, a few modern artists, like Jerry Paper. I absolutely adore. I think his music is, like, really, really good. Mild High Club is also pretty good. Probably like Jerry Paper more. I've talked about this before. I'm not sure if I talked about it on stream, but I've definitely talked about it multiple times in the past. About, math rock. Because, like, the thing is, I do like it, but it's maybe, like, the most embarrassingly titled genre I can imagine. Like, no one gets excited at the prospect of math rock. It just sounds like, I don't know, dude. It sounds like, I don't want to be too mean. Oh god. It sounds like the band Geeks got a reunion, just to name that one genre. It's just like, you know, I get it. Like, it's called math rock because of typically complicated time signatures and, like, polyrhythms and stuff, but... And, like, the thing is, I shouldn't say I like all math rock, because, like, a lot of, like, math rock is really bad. Honestly, like, a lot of things that would go under the genre name math rock, I think, are the kind of people who actually enjoy that it's called math rock. Like, I feel like the only people who produce good math rock are those who are also embarrassed by the genre title. I hope so, at least. Yeah, like, occasionally, by recommendation, I'll find, like, another math rock artist, and I'll give it a listen, and it just, like, doesn't line up right. Like, for someone who must take pride in the fact that it's called math rock, because they've made it as complex as possible, it just, like, kind of stops becoming music at a point to me, and I know that's, like, a super subjective thing to say, but I don't know, I feel like people who go too into it kind of lose the plot. I like a lot of Gizzard as well. That's probably obvious, but I don't like all Gizzard though. In fact, I like a lot more of Gizzard's earlier stuff than their more recent stuff. But they're very, I don't know. They've got a lot of experimentation. They don't really sit in one place for too long, which I respect. But like, I think that Quarters is one of. I don't want to say it's my favorite, because I also like Give me a second. King Gizzard. Polygon one. Polygon one. Oh god. When I'll. I swear. How do you pronounce it? Polygondwana Land. Okay, I parsed it. I just barely parsed it there. Polygondwana Land. That's probably my favorite album. But I don't know, there's something about Quarters that keeps dragging me back to it. Like, I don't know, I think that Polygondwana Land is a better album, but I think I like Quarters more. Quarters is definitely, like, it's way more simplistic. It gets a little repetitive at times, because, like, you know, they went with the theme of making 4 songs that were, what, like 11 minutes each, so that it ends up being like a 44-minute, 44-second album. But I don't think that all of those songs needed the full 11-minute runtime. That being said, I still like... I probably listen to Quarters more than any other Gizzard album. It's got like a very early Yes feel to it that I haven't really heard from anyone other than Yes. And Yes is by far, like, probably just flat out my favorite band. I like a lot of Yes. I've talked about the modern stuff too. I do like... What is it? Like, it's like 901278, whatever the... There's good songs in that album, though it's obviously, like, a little too poppy to be Yes. It's not really Yes. It's very cheesy sounding, but I don't know. I kind of still like it. There's good moments. I think Owner of a Lonely Heart still slaps to a degree. Though I can definitely understand not liking it, and I can definitely understand not liking it because it's not really Yes. Because it's not really Yes. But I still, you know, it's got its moments. But like Relayer, just like, what is it, the Yes album? I forget a lot of the names of the albums, but the early albums are great. Relayer is one of the later ones that's still great. And by later ones, I just mean, like, came out after Close to the Edge. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong about that, then I sound real stupid right about now, but... obviously, Close to the Edge is, like, the height of height. It's by far my favorite song. Tales from Topographic Oceans is also great. I think that's my dad's favorite album from Yes, which I find kind of weird. It's a good album, but... It, I don't know, I feel like it kind of doesn't go anywhere. Like, I don't know. A lot of Yes albums have a nice flow to the album, but... that being said, Close to the Edge doesn't. Close to the Edge is... Like, Close to the Edge is all about the A-side. Like, I don't dislike the songs on the B-side, but... You know, it's about the A-side. The B-side is definitely a departure from the A-side, and it really doesn't feel like a coherent album after the first song is over. Like, you play the A-side, you're like, wow, that's, like, one of the most amazing musical experiences of my life, or at least you better be like that. And then you flip the record over and you're like, is this the same? They accidentally print the wrong album to the backside. Because it's a definite departure, but... I mean, you know, the Beatles. Who could dislike the Beatles? The Beatles is definitely good at times. I'm not, like, the hugest Beatles fan, but I also don't understand the people who just hate the Beatles on principle of saying they're overrated. Which, like, I don't know. They might be overrated. Like, I don't think that... Well, I don't know. I say that I don't think they really transformed the genre as much as people say they did, but I don't know, they kind of did, though. Like, listen to rock before the Beatles and after the Beatles. And I'm not saying that the Beatles were the only people experimenting at the time, but... They're definitely, like, the most prominent names doing something different with rock at the time. There were some out-there tracks that were a little bit unusual, but I think, I don't know, it's kind of weird as well, because most people like the Beatles for their not weird stuff, where I tend to like the weirder stuff more. I mean, I like the, you know, the more poppy kind of radio-style Beatles as well, but it goes all around. It's got the full spectrum of weirdness and normalness in there. Yeah, that's music. Some more obscure ones. I like Dominique Guyot. Although it's really just that one album. I've listened to some of Guyot's other, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the French horribly. I'm sure I am. But I've listened to some of his other works, and they didn't strike me as well as L'Univers de la Mer. God. Every time. Like, I know, and, like, it's especially bad because I know that French are, like, they're very sensitive about the pronunciation of their language. Or at least, you know, you tend to get that. I'm still fucked up that, the cookie clicker guy, his name is pronounced Octiel. That's been fucking with me ever since. Dude, why go? Why go at that time? The answer is because I just wasn't paying attention to the screen, but, like, I have a safe cycle that works literally 100% of the time, and I just decided to leap out there for no reason. Anyways, I'm probably done with music conversation. I don't want to get copyright ID matched for just talking about songs. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't really branch out from music too often. Like, every now and then someone will give me a recommendation that I'll look into and I'll actually like it, but I've got fairly picky tastes when it comes to music. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like a huge dickhead when it comes to it. Like, Jacob understands me. Jacob always has great recommendations because, like, his will always be, like, just some raw-ass jazz or jazz fusion that I can't not be into, basically. Like, just give me a dude who knows how to play, and I'll be excited for the music. But, I mean, I'm always just, like, super impressed by how well people can fucking just be out there playing, you know? Like, improvisational music just blows me away, because, like, you know, like, I don't know how to play any instruments, really. Like, I have played songs on piano in the past, but, like, I'm really fucking bad at using both hands, which is, like, step one, right? It's like step one to learning the piano is be able to play something differently on bass with your left hand while handling the main melody with your right hand. Just can't fucking do it. As soon as those wires get crossed in my brain, I just start, like, fumbling all over the place. I'm sure if I practiced more, I would get the hang of it, but it's one of those things that it just takes a lot of time. I'm already trying to juggle a few too many things. Like, I've still left learning Japanese on the counter for way too long, because I still need to buy, like, a grammar textbook. And, like, that one hiccup, like, that one barrier from repetition is all it took for me to get out of the groove, which is scary. It's like, you can be so consistent with something. I practice Japanese every single day for, like, I don't know, like, at least 10 months. And as soon as I got to the level that the course I was taking recommended me getting a grammar textbook so I could also learn grammar and actually be able to, like, write sentences and speak to some degree, comprehend what people are saying if they're saying something to me, I just immediately dropped out. Like, that's all it took. As soon as I got, like, one excuse to take me out of the cycle, I was out. It's like, you don't realize how much constant effort it takes to keep up a routine until you're out of it, and it's so much harder to get back into it. Like, you can, once you're in the cycle, it's not so bad, and especially, like, it's so daunting getting back to it at this point, because, like, I guarantee I've forgotten, like, a ton of shit. Like, already, like, I used to be able to fairly easily drum up, like, the kanji that was in the last lesson I took, so when it came to reviews, I would, like, you know, easily snap back to, like, oh yeah, I've been thinking about that one, I remember that one, or, you know, in my head, when I've heard that word, I've just kind of, like, automatically translated it to Japanese because I know the word, and it's fun to know that. For, like, anyone else who has learned a secondary language, I'm sure this is relatable. But, yeah, I've just been out of that for so long. And, like, it still happens occasionally. I'll be like, yeah, haha, I know that word. But way less than it used to. And, like, I could not tell you what the last kanji I learned in my last lesson was. And I'm sure, like, if I looked at my review pile, it would be way into the hundreds of things I would need to review. Because, like, I got into the routine of, like, handling my reviews and doing 10 lessons a day. The lessons just being, like, individual kanji, individual words, or individual radicals. So I would do my reviews and do 10 of those. Sometimes, if I had the time, I would do, like, 20 lessons in a day. But I would always make sure to, like, be on top of my reviews. Like, I would do all of my reviews in the day. But then it got to a point towards the end, like, I capped out at, level 10 in the program. Oh shit, I forgot I was supposed to run. Why am I stupid? Probably because I'm not focusing on the game at all. But, around where I capped out, like, sometimes the reviews would just get absurd. And it would be like, yeah, for this day, even though you've been keeping up with reviews and not ignoring them, for this day you have to handle, like, 200 reviews, just because, like, that's how it ended up being. Because, like, the reviews are based on when you take the lessons. But, like, the more you review the same thing, the longer it takes for it to pop back into reviews, until eventually, like, it counts you as, like, mastering the thing, and it stops popping into reviews. But, because of that, like, delayed review cycle, it means that sometimes, like, if you do a bunch of lessons at once, at the same time that you did a bunch of lessons at once, like, months ago, it'll sometimes drop you, like, just a ridiculous amount of reviews all at the same time. And you'd have, like, hundreds of them. Occasionally when that happened, I would split the reviews across multiple days, would not do lessons. So I guess it was a combination of, like, a breaking point from needing to get a grammar textbook, and also getting swamped to a degree. Because, like, it did get to be a bit much at times. It was taking, like, hours sometimes just to get through the reviews. But I would like to get back to it, because I don't want to let, like, the hours of work that I've put into it already go to waste. And, like, it's not, like, I don't have that kind of mentality about it. Like, I don't believe that if you spend, like, because it probably has been, I don't know, maybe half a year since I was doing Japanese on a daily basis. I'm not the kind of guy who believes that, like, if you leave something alone for 6 months, you lose all of that information. Like, there are some people who have a very, if you don't use it, you lose it mentality, but I don't 100% believe that's how the brain works. Like, I know that, like, if you more regularly do something, like, it'll form stronger connections in your brain, and be easier to draw to memory, and, like, that's particularly important with something like learning a new language, where it's literally all just pretty much rote memorization. But I don't know. I feel like it's still in there. It just needs to be, like, jostled awake, you know? Like, I don't believe you fully lose it. It might weaken a little bit, I believe that, but I like to believe that the time I've spent learning those first 10 lessons are not entirely gone. Oh man, this is, like, actually just talking about it is kind of motivating me to get back into it, but I've got so many things on the plate right now. Like, I'm trying to get back into exercising too, because I've kind of let my my exercise routine go by the wayside. Like, a few things that I just kind of dropped at the new year, which is like, that's not what you're supposed to do. But, you know, I'm getting back into things. And, like, streaming has been super irregular for me. But I've brought that back as of this week, so that feels pretty nice. Leave me alone? Thank you. Yeah, it's felt pretty nice to actually get, like an entire week of, streaming at the time I said I was going to be streaming. I did it. I finally did it. It's Friday, right? I kind of lose track of days because I'm on, like, a not normal schedule most of the time. Yeah, it's Friday. Look at that. 5 days in a row. And, like, I still plan on doing something special for Saturday tomorrow. I'm not sure if it's going to be Roblox still. Because, like, I don't want to do it by myself for sure. If it is Roblox, it'll probably be a little bit later than a regular stream. Because I know my girlfriend will want to join in on that, but she's usually not available till a little bit later. So, we'll see about that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do if it's not Roblox. Probably just, like, not Jimmy Neutron. I have been thinking about that Jimmy Neutron stream, but I think I'll save that for a special event. Like, I'm coming across my my first full year of streaming relatively soon. Let me actually check on that. I know it's not too far off. I think it's February something, right? Naruto scares the shit out of Sheen. Thank you, YouTube auto recommendation. My YouTube recommendations for like my WillPending channel, because like I have a separate YouTube channel that I use for like actually watching YouTube. But like the raw ass YouTube recommendations that are for a channel that like doesn't watch any videos, because like the only videos I pull up on the WillPending channel are videos I pull up on accident because I didn't switch accounts, or are my own videos just to get a thumbnail. Oh no, I started streaming in March. Okay. Wait. April. Dude, as soon as I left GameStop, all of the information about the order of the months left my brain. I was so proud of myself for finally learning the named order of the months, and that's gone. Give me a Cetera geography quiz, except all of the states are renamed to the order of the months. Okay, the joke fell apart, I'm sorry. Oh man. April. Yeah, there you go. That's the 4th month, I think. April 7th, from what I just saw, is my streamiversary. Wow. Maybe that's what I'll save the Jimmy Neutron stream for. Because it needs to be something special. I can't just throw that in for any random stream. Like I did for the original Jimmy Neutron stream that was like a complete whiff. Just a total failure. I mean, it's how Mentor found my stream, but that's, you know, that's a blessing that came out of nowhere. I'm not gonna say that it was because of me. It was blind chance, which is kind of just how, like, streaming feels in general. Like, whenever an actual cool person I like finds my stream, it's just like, I don't know. I'm not really doing anything special most of the time. It's just random. Pure random chance. But I guess that's why you gotta keep consistent with it, or something. And I definitely understand that, like, your luck would probably be a lot more weighted towards your benefit if you just stuck with streaming one thing. Because you're probably going to catch more people interested in that one particular thing than you're going to find people who are interested in you as a person if you're rapidly swapping games every stream. Although I have been pretty consistent with nigh recently. Professional nigh streamer. And I've been streaming a lot of the space game recently too, just because, like, I fucking love it, dude. It's so cool. There are still some problems I have with it, but I don't know, I shouldn't be too critical, because, like, my current biggest problem is, like, I don't understand why research is not done automatically. There's probably some other nitpicky things I'm forgetting about, but... And again, like, there also just straight up might be a research machine that gets unlocked eventually, but... It just seems exceptionally weird that you have these things that are needed to create the research cubes, then you just have to put them in your inventory. Like, that seems so strange. I think it would make infinitely more sense if it just, like, researched it out front with the machine, you know? That's what makes most sense to me. I know it's, like, literally just the exact way Factorio works, so... maybe I'm a little bit biased towards the thing I already know, and seek to hate change just because it's change, but... I don't know. I just don't see, like, the gameplay benefit for you having to put them in your inventory to research. I understand, I guess, that, like, I don't know, maybe they want research to be gated. Scary. Because, like, in Factorio, but I don't know, I prefer it the way Factorio does it, and here's why. The fact that you can have multiple machines researching at the same time to increase your speed of research means that, like, at no point in Factorio are you ever just waiting. Like, you could always be doing something in Factorio to speed up your progress. Whereas currently, at least in regards to research in Dyson Sphere program, it really feels like you are just, like, strictly gated to wait a specific amount of time. And it's not, like, an absurd amount of time yet, but I don't know how ridiculous the research might get in the future. Alright. Focus time. This is the first time I've had focus time since starting the stream. That's not a good sign. I should have gotten here way more consistently. Also, by the way, just gonna level with you, I thought I was already to the final area. It's been so long since I've made it to this area that I forgot it existed. That's no good. But this area is not particularly difficult, he says right before dying. I am a little bit nervous. No stupid mistakes. Just happy little accidents. Dude, my fingers are, like, tensed up right now. I need to shake it off. Alright. I'm ready. It immediately dies. I was half expecting it to happen. Yikes, dude. Alright. Okay. So I just want to go, like, kind of immediately here, because that's the cycle that I've been confident with. A little bit scary, but that's what I've been doing the past few times, and it's worked out a-okay. Oh, God. It's so stressful. I don't want to talk about it. I just need to be relaxed when I get there, man. When I'm so fucking tense, I can't control myself. Like, it's actually, like, when I say tense, I mean literally tense. Like, my fucking muscles were contracted at least 80%. Oh, God. Alright. I'm gonna try and, like, if I can keep the banter going and stay into autopilot when I enter that area. Like, I try and be quiet to focus, but it kind of actually makes things worse, because the more I'm focusing, the more nervous I get. Kinda one step forward, two steps back sort of thing. Yeah, I'm excited to get back to Dyson Sphere program. I keep wanting to say project. I'm excited to, oh fuck, to go back to Dyson Sphere program. Because, like, I'm so excited to see, like, where it goes in the future. Like, the main menu has, like, a screen of an in-development Dyson Sphere, which looks really cool, but, like, I have no idea if that's actually going to translate to real gameplay. And I know I'm going, like, so much slower than I gather, like, most people probably would be going in that game, because, like, it's very Factorio-esque. I never played, what's the other one? It's Factorio and Satisfactory. I never played Satisfactory. I did play Infinifactory, if that counts for anything. But, I never played Satisfactory. I might at some point, but, like, it was Epic exclusive at first. Not that I have anything wrong with that, it's just, like, a little bit of barrier to entry because I still don't have an Epic Games account. Well, actually, that's not true. I did play Fortnite, like, once, because a friend wanted me to. Speaking of which, it was that friend I talked about in the past that gets angry over every little thing that is no longer a friend of mine. He wanted me to play Fortnite. But anyways, yeah, I never played Satisfactory. And I've heard that Dyson Sphere program is a little bit more similar to Satisfactory than it is to Factorio in certain aspects. But I have no reference point to gather if that's true, or if that's just someone talking out of their ass, because it might be. But from what I've experienced, all I can say is that it's very Factorio. I know that Satisfactory is also very Factorio, but I've yet to discover that. Maybe at some point I'll do it on stream. But from what I've seen of Satisfactory, though, it never looked particularly optimized on the few streams I did see of it. But that was, like, when it first came out, like, super early. And, they probably made some improvements to that, I'd gather. It also just kind of bugged me how you set things up in Satisfactory. Like, I don't know, everything always looked ugly to me. Maybe that's just me. The way that, like, the buildings you create mesh into the environment always felt off-putting. Whereas I think it's, like, really smoothly done in Dyson Sphere program. It's got, like, that RTS kind of feel to it. Like, you place buildings down and it kind of, like, to some degree melds the terrain a little bit to make it look like it fits in. I like it. So yeah, excited to get back to it. Speaking of not Satisfactory, Infinifactory. I was actually thinking about that game recently because of Dyson Sphere program. I was like, that's a really fucking good game that I kind of want to get back to and, like, maybe do some streams of at some point. Although I'm sure that would be, like, peak fucking Resident Sleeper content, because it's, like, not only is it a puzzle game, but it's, like, it's less programmy than most of Zachtronics games. But it's got a little bit of programmy-esque elements to it. God, I hate it when they bounce off the wall at, like, turbo speed. That's when it's scariest. Like, my favorite Zachtronics game to date is... Well, I had a lot of fun with Exapunks. Or is it Exo? Whatever. I think it's Exapunks. Anyways. I had fun with Exapunks, but, like, I would never fucking stream that, because, like, could you theorize more boring content than, like, optimizing assembly code? Because, like, that's what I do in those games, is I did so less with Infinifactory. Because I don't know what it was with Infinifactory, but I had less of an inclination to optimize that one. I just kind of wanted to solve the puzzles and be done with them. But if I was to do it on stream, I probably would go for optimization. Stream's been good. Stream's been alright. I haven't made any fucking progress in the game, but it started out with a bang of me complaining about YouTube's DMCA stuff. Because one of my videos was copyright... Not stricken. It's not a strike. But it was content ID matched with a song that's literally not even there. They just, they claimed a non-existent song. They said it was a Chinese rap song, which I don't believe I was playing on stream. But, anyways. Yeah, as far as the non-programming games go, because, like, I don't know, programming game-wise, I think I liked Exapunks more than I did Shingen. I know that a lot of people like Shenzhen more, but I don't know, I thought Shenzhen was a little too restrictive for me to really have fun with it. I know that that's kind of like the bread and butter of it, is that the restrictions make it more interesting to optimize and that kind of thing, but I don't know, the optimization gimmick, because there were like some gimmicky things that like once you know how to optimize Shenzhen, it's like, oh, you just have to do this with every single level, and you'll get like an extra 10 cycles over everyone else. But yeah, Shenzhen was less fun for me to optimize, so I didn't really care at that point. In fact, I don't know, I kind of got bored with Shenzhen, which might be sacrilege, but I mean, I get bored with all of the Zachtronics games before I finish them, usually. Like, I usually get to the later puzzles, and then I'm like, oh god. Like, I can beat them, but optimizing this thing, because that's just the way I play it, is like, I play it to optimize, so I think of it with that in mind, and I'm like, I don't even want to imagine optimizing some of these. Like, I think the one I stopped on in Exapunks was, like, the President DNA one. It was, like, you have to, like, retrieve held President DNA and, like, swap some out. I don't remember the exact puzzle, but it had something to do with, like, Presidents of the United States, and, yeah, I beat the puzzle, and then I looked back at it, and realized how much, like, reworking of the code I would need to do to actually optimize it, to get, like, anywhere close to a good score, and I was like, nah, dude, this is where I'm out. This is where I drop out of Exapunks. But Exapunks was great. I think that's my favorite of the programming Zachtronics games. I mean, I don't know, if you want to count Opus Magnum is a programming one, then never mind. Opus Magnum is my favorite of the programming ones. I think Opus Magnum is just straight up my favorite Zachtronics game to date. It's just, like, really, really well done. Can't believe I didn't die there. But yeah, Opus Magnum's great. And I had, like, a extra fun with Opus Magnum, because at the time, I had, somehow gotten Jacob to also get the game, despite having, like, very little patience for that kind of puzzle. So, like, getting Jacob to solve some of those, and, like, having him send me a gif of it was some of the most fun I have ever had with the Zachtronics game. And I'm not even playing it. I'm just making fun of my friend for his, like, incredibly archaic designs. But, like, I don't know, that's also part of the beauty of those games, is, like, they're never hard to solve. Like, well, maybe not never. I would say that Infinifactory had some puzzles that got to the point where they were actually hard to solve. But, I don't know, they still, like, it's only difficult when they restrict your space. Opus Magnum never restricts your space. You always have infinite space, infinite money to work with. Well, actually, that's not true. They came out with some levels afterwards that are around restricting your space, but I honestly just kind of didn't like those levels because they were so restrictive. I tried to do that differently in a way that I thought was safer, but apparently it wasn't. I should have backed out of that after I realized it wasn't going to work. Yeah, Jacob, one of his friends, also got into it, and we all compared. Because, like, I don't know, the built-in GIF functionality of Opus Magnum made it so easy to have some kind of community poking fun at each other. Less poking fun of me, because, I mean, you know, not to be mean to the other two, but I just had, like, the better answers to the puzzles most of the time. Except this one time, in which Evan, Jacob's friend, just, like, straight up copied, like, a post on Reddit that was, like, the most optimal way to solve a puzzle. Yeah, he beat me on that one. But, like, I don't... That's one of the problems, because there is a problem with Opus Magnum, is that all of the highest optimization solutions require just, like, having huge conveyor belts so that you never miss a cycle. Like, because, like, rotating your arms takes time, extending your arms takes time, so it would always be faster in a position where one arm could do the job perfectly fine. It's better to have, like, 10 arms on a conveyor belt, so that there's no downtime. That was stupid. So yeah, I don't know. But Cycles is definitely, like, I don't... Because, like, all of Zachtronics games have multiple metrics with which they score you on. I don't know. It's a weird thing, right? Like, they are different puzzles, but usually Cycles is the most interesting of those puzzles. Like, it is technically, like, an entirely different puzzle to tackle a solution by, like, in Opus Magnum terms, like, tackling a solution with, like, the lowest amount of cost for the level, or for the lowest amount of instructions for the level. Cost usually was, like, just boring. Like, I mean, no offense if you're, like, in love with Opus Magnum and love solving puzzles based on cost, but yeah, cost usually wasn't super interesting because it usually revolves around just using one arm whenever possible. In fact, like, I'm pretty sure in every level, like, using one arm is better. Towards the later ones, you might have two arms, but, like, one extendo arm, sometimes you would need it on a track just to, like, get space out of it, but yeah, I don't know. The, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Cost was never super interesting, because it was just, like, boring to, like... You basically have to, like... like, programming-wise, when you're programming with, like, multiple arms, you get to a level of, like, automation, right? Like, you just have to tell it the instructions once, and it's good. It knows what to do. You just repeat that and repeat that. But when you have to do every instruction on one arm, you literally have to, like, force-feed it every single instruction from start to finish to complete the puzzle, which was usually just, like, very, very tedious. So I didn't like solving for cost. I think the other one in Opus Magnum was size, based on, like, how many tiles you took up, and, like, also it counted, like, tiles that your arm and the molecules rotate over. Size was a little bit more interesting, especially in the later puzzles when you get, like, really, really large, like, molecules that you're combining. It, got a little bit interesting on, like, trying to hold the, the, like, molecules over space that you've already occupied before to cut down on size. It's a slightly more interesting challenge, but usually it was just Cycles that I care about. That's my go-to. I mean, there are other Zachtronic-like games as well, but, what's the company called? The Little Inferno and the World of Goo. I forget the name of the company, but they have two kind of Zachtronic-esque games as well. I played the first one, not the second one. I don't think they have online leaderboards, though. From what I remember, it was just... Oh, no! No, I think they did have online leaderboards. Yeah, because I definitely grinded out on, like, the Division one or the Factoring one. I forget which one. Like, one of the harder puzzles I grinded out for Cycles. And there was, like, a really, really interesting solution to that one that I actually liked, but anyways, yeah, I like those games. I was thinking about Infinifactory, because I never really optimized in that game. I just played that one for completion. Because it was like, I don't know, past, and I haven't even talked about, like, the OG, which is, like, Opus Magnum .01, was, I really should know the name of it. I'll look at my Steam library real quick. Oh, actually, this one requires timing. But, I never really got into the first big Zachtronics game, which is the one I'm trying to think of. Zachtronics crying, because I'm not talking about Infinifactory. Or sorry, Infiniminer. Let's see here. I'm talking about, of course, Space Kim. There you go. I never got into Space Kim at all. I mean, I played it to, like, near completion. Like, I got to the very later levels, but I also did not optimize in that one at all. Because, like, at the age that I played it, I was like, I think it was even before I started programming at all. I just, like, didn't have the patience for that kind of thing, honestly. I didn't see the fun in it. And then Infinifactory was the next one I played after that, obviously. And, yeah, I still didn't have the mind for the cycle counts. But then every Zachtronics game past then, I've been for it, 100%. I mean, I saw that he made, like, that... He made, like, a really not Zachtronics game recently. I think it's called Nerts, like, N-E-R-T-S. And, it seems not so great from what I've seen. I don't know, I'm just trusting the user reviews, because out of, like... I mean, I don't know, to be fair, I'm sure a lot of people are just a little bit cynical of it, because it's not, like, Zachtronics' normal space, you know? It's not what he's usually doing, but also, like, I don't know, people in the reviews seem to have, like, genuine design complaints that may or may not be valid, but it also is just, like, not my kind of game, so I haven't given it the time of day. But yeah, Infinifactory. I might get to that at some point on stream. Who knows? It's a fun game. And it's, like, very, very open-ended with the amount of space it gives you most of the time. Like, there are some confined levels in Infinifactory, but it's usually huge, wide-open areas for you to solve puzzles in. But it would be interesting getting back to it again, too, because not only did I not, like, optimize anything the first time I played, but also, I was probably just really bad at solving the puzzles when I first played it. Because, I don't know, I guess I just didn't really have that puzzle sense for that kind of design space yet. Again, it was probably, like, pretty early into me programming when I played Infinifactory first as well. Not, like, super early, like, I was definitely programming by that point, but not very well, if I had to guess. So, but like I said, I don't think Infinifactory, at least from what I remember, it's not quite as programmatic as other Zachtronics games, because, like, you don't directly tell machines what to do. I think you just, like, have sensors that trigger pistons, basically, more or less. They trigger, like, other blocks to do things. So, a little bit easier from that perspective. It's still wild, though. Like, there was, like, an interview he did a while back talking about, like, Infiniminer in Minecraft. Like, it's so weird playing, like, the Zachtronics games, because, like, I don't know how many people know that he made Infiniminer. Like, I don't know, Infinifactory says, like, from the maker of Space Kim and Infiniminer, but, like, is it just me, or, like, the first time I looked at that trailer, was I the only one who thought they were talking about two different people? Like, I thought that Infinifactory was, like, a collab. I thought that he was getting together with, like, some other dude who made Infiniminer. I just did not piece together that he made Infiniminer, which directly inspired Minecraft. Like, directly. Like, if you look at, old footage of what Infiniminer was. It's like, goddamn, that's... I mean, you look at it and you think, like, instinctually, that's a Minecraft clone. But then you look at the date and you're like, oh shit, this came out like years before Minecraft. Goddamn. But I don't know. I just don't think that he, I mean, I don't know. It's weird to say that, like, I don't think he ever would have taken it in that direction. Because he definitely saw the potential in it, but, like, when he made Infiniminer, just thinking back to that interview I read, I think he said, like, he was very surprised to see that, like, people were using it as, like, such a creative tool, online servers. So I don't know, maybe he would have seen that, and if he cared to keep developing Infiniminer, he could have made Minecraft. But I think that, I mean, I know that everyone gets all up in arms when you say that Notch was like... people just get upset with you saying that Notch made Minecraft. Because, like, I also don't agree with the guy. Like, I'm not saying that Notch is a great guy. But I don't know, I find it so weird that people are so adamant with, like, excommunicating him and, like, being like he had nothing to do with Minecraft's success when he was, for the longest time, like, the sole developer. But, you know, maybe you can give all of the credit to Zach. Zach is the actual original creator of Minecraft, if that's what you wanna go towards. I don't know. Notch has talked about, like, ages ago, his inspiration for Minecraft, and, like, fucking talking about walking in the Swedish woods as a child. But I think that kind of inspiration is kind of important to how Minecraft got to where it is, because it does have, like, a very natural exploration feel to it that, I just don't think that if Zach had continued developing Infiniminer, he would have necessarily brought it to that area. I don't think that's kind of that doesn't strike me as Zach's inspiration most of the time is the Swedish forests. I don't think we're gonna see too many Swedish forest Zachtronic games. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's next online. I never would have expected a weird fucking tank RTS game, so... Who knows what's coming out of Zachtronics next? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he is going to go out there and make Minecraft 2. You ever think about Terraria 2? Is that just me? Am I the only one out here thinking about Terraria 2? Like, it has to be in... Oh my god, I didn't think I was gonna make that jump. I was so fucking scared. It has to be out there, right? Like, they have to be working on it. They're obviously working on something, the Relogic team, I mean. I saw recently that, like, the Relogic team, their fucking YouTube account was suspended for some reason. YouTube sucks, dude. I'm glad I... Oh, fuck. Glad I kept the title as YouTube is a fucking joke, dude. Because it is. But, yeah, I wonder what that's about. Anyways, Terraria 2. I think about it every now and then. Here's the thing. Is it weird to suck balls? Is it weird to have absolutely no hope for Terraria 2? Because I kind of have absolutely no hope for Terraria 2. I don't want to be like doom and gloom and say that all your hopes and dreams are going to be crushed, but everything about Terraria strikes me as it is as good as it is on accident. And that's like the meanest thing you could ever fucking say to someone, I know. Like, to the people who have put, like, hours of hard work into Terraria, that's probably, like, the shittiest thing to hear. But, I don't know. It's mainly cynicism coming off of 1.14, I guess. Because, like, 1.14 was, like, a huge flop, and, like... like, very, very obviously... I don't know. It was a flop on, like, a design standpoint, which is, like, the scariest thing. It's not just, like, I don't know. It's not disappointing because, like, maybe the content wasn't that great, or there wasn't that much content, which is kind of true on both fronts. But also, like, I don't know. I just keep thinking about Master Mode, and I'm like, what a goddamn wreck. What a wreck, dude. And it's also, like, I always go back to the fishing, because the fishing is, like, like, they really, really went with it. They were like, obviously it's unacceptable that you can create a Terraria world and just sometimes not get required items, more or less required, to beat the game. Their solution to that was not, like, rewarding the players for, like, I don't know, spending, like, a little time in the right place and giving them the item. Instead, it's just more fucking random chance with fishing. Like, the fact that they were like, we have a huge design issue, what do we do to fix it? And their answer was like, maybe, like, I don't know, in my opinion, the worst fucking... I should have jumped there. The worst fucking answer they could have landed on. Just makes me have zero hope for whatever Terraria 2 may or may not be. And it's also, I don't know, it's kind of hard to really trust them when, well, I mean, you can look at it two ways, right? You can look at the cancellation of Terraria Otherworld as increasing trust with the company, because, like, they obviously spent thousands of dollars with the development of that game and, like, hiring 2 separate studios to work on it, because the first one wasn't working out, so they got a second studio, still couldn't recover the game. So hiring 2 separate studios to work, presumably full-time, on Terraria Otherworld, just to cancel the project. And I mean, they said that, like, it's not going to go to waste, and they still have the assets and everything, but, like, I don't know. I mean, like... like, what are you gonna do with those assets? Like, unless you make Terraria 2 in the exact same art style. And I don't know, like, what even is a Terraria 2? What I guess I'll start by saying what I would want out of a Terraria 2, which is just, like, Terraria without the bad parts and more of the good parts. But I don't know, man. With, like, all of the updates Terraria has had, like, the only one that stands out as, like, really fucking good was 1.13, and even that, like, I don't know, hard mode, you could argue, was also good, but even 1.13, I'm like, I still kind of hate the way the lunar event and all of that is designed, and it was even worse when it was first released. Like, they didn't have the ability to craft, like, the lunar coin or whatever it is, that's a fucking Risk of Rain thing. The lunar, Moonlord token, whatever they fucking called it. The item you can use to spawn Moonlord additional times. They didn't even have that when it was first released, so you literally had to go through the entire lunar event to attempt a Moonlord fight. And, like, you're probably gonna die the first, I don't know, dozen or so attempts, because it's a brand new boss you've never seen, and it's also, like, by far, if not the hardest boss in Terraria, which, I mean, come on, it is with vanilla Terraria. But if you're going to say that for whatever fucking reason, like, Fissure is harder, because you're dumb, I don't know. It's at least the most damaging boss. Like, pretty much all of its attacks do just an absolute absurd amount of damage, which, I don't know, you can take that various different ways, because, again, like, the Terraria defense system is really bad, and just prioritizes defense over every other stat, so, you know, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Here's what I would want out of Terraria 2. I would want a Terraria that's more focused on combat, less focused on, like, mining and 10,000 different resources all over the world. Like, I don't know. Crafting is not inherently interesting, at least not the way it's done in games like Terraria or Minecraft even, you know? Like, crafting is just a means to an end. It's not something like Atelier, where the crafting is actually, like, interesting and fun. Or, again, it's not like something in Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. Like, there's nothing interesting you can do with crafting in Terraria. Like, I mean, I guess you could say, like, the only interesting part about it is that sometimes you get, like, a modifier on your item, but, like, you literally just fucking re-roll it. It's not like there's multiple modifiers a la Path of Exile or something. Which, again, yeah, that's another thing with interesting crafting. Though, I don't know, some people take issue with the term crafting in Path of Exile. Because, like, you're not really making something new, you're just modifying something, but I don't know. If you see, like, the difference between two fucking weapons with the same base type in Path of Exile, and tell me that they're the exact same item when, like, one makes enemies explode when you kill them, and the other gives you 2 extra mana, I would say that crafting in Path of Exile does give you something new. But, anyways, that's beside the point. Yeah, crafting is not, like, inherently interesting in Terraria, so I'm not gonna say, like, they should do something about that, but I guess have less of a focus on that. And, like, even mod packs kind of go a little bit too far in that direction, I think. It's the same exact thing for Minecraft mod packs. It's like, I don't get it, man. I don't understand the appeal to, like, incredibly convoluted, complicated crafting recipes that have, like, hundreds of steps. And, like, especially, like, the more technical Minecraft mod packs, that's all it fucking is. It's just, like, stupidly long lines of ingredients that you need to go through to get to the product you actually care about. I just don't see how that makes interesting gameplay. It just, like, takes a lot of time. In a game like, and I guess I understand it a little bit in, like, the more technical Minecraft mod packs, because a lot of those are about automation, and you can automate a lot of those steps, but it's never to the level that, that something like Factorio or, you know, Satisfactory or Dyson Sphere Program does. Because, like, those games have, like, a very limited amount of ingredients and components compared to most Minecraft mod packs. Like, you load up a Minecraft mod pack, like a modern Minecraft mod pack with, like, hundreds of mods, you just open up the inventory, see, like, the list of recipes on the right side of your screen. It goes for pages and pages and pages and pages. And that doesn't even include, like, a lot of, like, base raw resources that you just gather from the world. Those are just crafting recipes. That doesn't necessarily include every single item you find in the game. So yeah, I don't get that, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I hope that Terraria... Because Terraria is already a mess like that. Like, Terraria already has way too many crafting ingredients that literally serve, like, one purpose, and outside of that one purpose, you just see it as, like, inventory bloat, and you're like, why do I need these, like, 800 different component items to craft things? I don't get it. Like, the point of, like, all of the crafting ingredients in Terraria are they give you, like, a benefit for being in a particular area, right? But, like, why, then, does the jungle need, like, 20 different, like, ingredients that you get in that area? You got, like, the little spike ball things, you got the vines you get from the vine enemies, you have, like, the plant mouth parts that you get from the vine enemies, you've got the stingers from the bees, you've got honey, you've got... I know I'm, like, the list goes on and on. I know I'm just, like, sounding like a fucking 80-year-old man who can't keep track of 20 items, but it's just like, it doesn't add to the gameplay at all. It doesn't make it more fun. It just makes it so you have to go home every 2 minutes because your inventory gets filled up. So yeah, crafting, it's not inherently interesting, but games keep acting like it is. Minecraft, like, vanilla Minecraft, it's not really a problem. And I love the Minecraft recipe book. I'm, like, always for information being kept in the game so you don't have to look at a wiki every 2 minutes. Minecraft doesn't really have an issue with an overabundance of items. Like, pretty much every item on Minecraft has, like, multiple different uses to it. There are, like, a lot of blocks in Minecraft, but, I mean, blocks are used for building, so, you know. It's hard to complain about more blocks that allow you to be more creative while building. But anyways, I mean, I don't know. The more content you add to a game in general, the more inventory is going to be a problem, and the more, like, it's going to be tedious to craft things, because, like, you've got these 800 different resources, and you need, like, 4 specific ones just to make this one thing, and then it becomes a pain. But it's definitely worse than Terraria, and, like, you know, while I do love Calamity, like, Calamity to some degree does make that even more of an issue. Though Calamity recipes are thankfully pretty simple. In Calamity, well, it doesn't require you to have, like, 700 stupid... Well, it kind of does, actually. There are a lot of, like, stupid intermediary materials in Calamity. But I don't know. To some degree, like, it's kind of just necessary. Because, like, all of Calamity's rewards like that, at least the vast majority of them, are things you get from bosses. So it's, like, kind of like a reward token for killing the boss. I don't know. I see value in that, I guess, but anyways. Calamity does have a lot of, like, other miscellaneous items you need to hold on to that add to, like, inventory and storage bloat, but whatever. Outside of that, yeah, I don't know. What was I saying? I don't want Terraria 2 to miss that point. I mean, it could do something interesting with crafting. I'm not gonna say that, like, I don't have any hope in them as developers to do something interesting with crafting and change that aspect of the game, but that would be a big departure. For sure. So I guess, while I'm not saying it's impossible, I don't necessarily expect it to happen either. And beyond that, I don't think it's what's most important to Terraria. Like, I don't know, you could make it interesting. Like, if it was, like, a crafting level on par or better than Atelier, then I'd be all fucking for it, don't get me wrong. But I also think that, I don't know, to develop it to that level would require, like, a lot of dev time and attention to how that's going to work, and also, like, the inventory and storage would need to be handled entirely differently. It'd basically be an entirely different game, which I don't think is what they're about. I think what they're probably about is making the same game, but hopefully an improvement. Which, hey, you know, I'm all for if it's actually an improvement. What I actually expect out of Terraria, they're probably going to keep the crafting exactly the same, honestly. Like, I don't know, while I think it's a problem and can be an ever-growing problem, it's very rare that there's, like, a game without any mods that I'm like, oh, this is just, like, an absolute mess with crafting. Like, that's usually not an issue. And to finish my point on Calamity, because I never really stated the end of that message, Calamity has a different problem, which is, while you don't need, like, too many miscellaneous resources from the mod pack specifically, you do need to hold on to, like, basically every old weapon you've ever used, because all of the weapons are materials and, like, further along upgrade paths. But anyways, Yeah, I don't know. It's like the biggest issue with it is usually Minecraft mod packs that just don't understand that level of complexity is not necessarily fun. I mean, maybe some people have fun with it, but I don't know. I don't really think it adds to gameplay. It's more just like a checklist that you have to go down and be like, alright, I have finally gone through all 128 steps of crafting this pickaxe. Now I can dig slightly faster, so that I can finish the 1,000 steps required to beat the game, quote-unquote. But I don't know, that's just... I guess that's kind of the appeal to a lot of those Minecraft mod packs, is that they're, like, super, super grindy most of the time. Especially the ones where, like, they start out as, like, skyblock and you start with nothing. Those can be particularly grindy, from what I've seen. But I don't know, there's some appeal to that, I guess, like, kind of a look at where we've come from nothing sort of thing. But at the same time, it's also like, look at how much fucking time you spent doing this, goddamn. It's not my kind of entertainment. I like some Minecraft mod packs, don't get me wrong, or mods specifically, I guess. I do think that some do interesting and neat things. Like, I think that Thaumcraft, in particular, does some things really interestingly. And actually does have an interesting crafting mechanic. Who would have thunk it? Thaumcraft actually kind of interesting crafting. Not as interesting as I'd like it to be, but slightly more interesting than just get resources and put them in a fucking crafting bench over and over again. 300 times, please. Oops. Yeah, okay. What do I want out of Terraria 2, I guess? I really don't expect them to do anything with crafting, but I guess I would like more understanding on the fact that just having a lot more materials does not necessarily make more interesting crafting. Thank God. I so often have been dying on that jump today. I don't know why. Just more focus on combat, and, like, I really want to just say, like, no mining. I want to say no mining. I definitely want to say no fishing. Unless they're gonna do something drastically different with the fishing. Like, the way fishing is currently set up in Terraria is, like, the most boring nonsense bullshit. And the fact that I can't get over it. The fact that they made, like, the most boring aspect of the game the only way to reliably get certain items is just beyond stupid. But anyways, I'm over it. Yeah. No fishing, unless they make it significantly better. The reason I say no mining is not because, like, I'm necessarily against mining. Like, mining, similar to crafting, is just a means to an end in Terraria. Like, mining in Minecraft is kinda similar, honestly. I guess I never really thought about mining in Minecraft, because most people just strip mine, right? Like, you can mine in, like, the safest environment, completely avoiding all danger in Minecraft. Whereas in Terraria, you're eventually going to be put in danger a little bit. So, mining in Minecraft is kind of weird. It's more like a therapeutic thing, if anything. Does not really add to gameplay too much, in my opinion, but I do know some people who like strip mining endlessly, so who am I to say? But mining in Terraria is strictly a means to an end, basically. It is like the one way you progress at certain parts in the game, and also it's like the one driving factor to put you in danger early on, is like there will be more dangerous enemies the deeper down underground you go, especially when you get to Hell, of all things. Who would have thought that would be down there? So yeah, it just kind of like drives the game forward. It like forces you to go forward, otherwise like... I mean, I like doing the skip, like, because I think most people would agree that the mining sections of Terraria are the most boring parts of the game. Like, especially pre-hard mode mining is just like please, God, end me levels of boredom. Cause, like, goddamn, dude. And it's so fucking stupid, because, like, I'm going off on Terraria mining, dude. The amount of bars it requires to make the armors is so ridiculously high. Like, no one's out here making bronze fucking armor when it takes, like, 80 bronze bars. Like, who fucking cares? By that point, you already have, like, enough gold or platinum to make a full set of gold or platinum. Like, no one's out here staying at, like... Why? I just mistimed that horribly. No one's staying out here at, like, fucking Y level 10, digging up copper their entire life. I don't understand why they made the early tier armors so expensive, and never addressed that. Like, if you were going to... Like, I don't know. I don't think that they should have, and I'm glad they went back on blocking the meteorite skip thingy that I always advocate people do. But if they were going to do anything about that situation, it shouldn't have been blocking it like they tried to. It should have just been making early game mining, like, easier to actually get things going with. Like, the reason literally everyone wants to skip that section of the game and go straight to meteorite is because it actually takes, like, hours and hours of mining copper, iron, silver, gold, whatever the fuck, if you want to make a full set of armor out of it. Or you could just, like, put yourself in a little bit of danger, which, I mean, maybe not on hardcore, sure, but... I don't know, even if I was playing Terraria on a hardcore, which sounds like the stupidest idea imaginable, first off. I mean, sorry for people who love doing Terraria hardcore, but it's just not really designed around it, so... I mean, neither is Path of Exile, mind you. I'm not going to say, you know, you shouldn't do Terraria hardcore, but you should do Path of Exile. Path of Exile is, like, equally bad for hardcore, honestly. But, anyways. Yeah. Even if I was hardcore, I would probably still do the meteorite skip, and if I die, I'd just fucking reset it, whatever. But it saves so much goddamn time to just go straight for meteorite. Like, you'd go down in caves deep enough so that when you break pots, you'll get either a bomb, a grenade, or meteorite. Wait till a demolitionist shows up, buy bombs from him, go to either the Crimson or the Corruption, bomb in to get the orbs or the hearts, break 2 of them, if you're playing hardcore. If not, you might as well just break 3 and take the L. Wait for meteorite to spawn, which I hate that it's just, like, waiting. But it is just random chance and waiting. There's, like, a random chance every night after you break one of those that a meteorite will spawn, but you just have to wait on it. But even still, just that waiting usually ends up being faster than if you had actually done the mining section of the game as the developers intended. Because the way the developers intended is spending an ungodly amount of time collecting fucking ores up to gold to get, like, armor that's worse than meteorite that you get fucking instantly. It's very stupid. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. The mining sections are really boring. I'm not saying they couldn't make them more interesting. Like, if the combat encounter... The reason that the early game mining sections are so boring is not because the mining itself is boring, or because, like, the enemies are too easy or anything, because, like, you know, the enemies don't really get much more difficult in hard mode. I mean, there are more difficult enemies in hard mode, but a lot of the regular ones you'll encounter in caves are basically the same. They probably could have more ranged enemies early on if they wanted to keep it interesting, but the reason they can't do anything interesting, and it is, like, by design, they are not allowed to do anything interesting with the early game, is because in the early game, you just have no movement options. Like, you spawn into the world is, like, You're just incapable of doing literally anything. I was gonna make a joke that would get me banned on Twitch. I'm sorry. I think I could say it. I could still say the joke. You spawn into the world as an incel. Don't ban me. Don't ban me, Twitch. It's not a direct insult to anyone in my chat, I promise. But yeah, no, you really just can't. Fucking hate that jump. You can't do anything for like the first handful of hours in Terraria. Like until you get flight, until you get like at the bare minimum a double jump, until you get a grappling hook. Not only can you not do anything with your movement is also just very, very boring. Like, the most fun movement in Terraria I still hold is probably entirely accidental. Maybe not accidental. Like, they maybe thought about it, but, like, it really is, like, I don't know. There's something so fucking good feeling about grappling to a wall and then immediately canceling the grapple to, like, get your flight timer back up. Like, that's... I don't know. It's got satisfying movement in the end game of Terraria, if you want to call it that. But, yeah, just the way Terraria is designed, in that you literally have, like, nothing right off the bat. I don't know if there's, like, a right answer to fix that. But if there was a right answer, it would probably sound something like, just make the early part of the game go by much quicker. Because that's, I don't know, that's just, like, the only thing you really can do when your base movement abilities are so boring. And also, like, I don't know, all of the items are really boring early on, too. Which, you know, it's like... Yeah, there's some kind of gratifying feeling to, like, coming from a piece of shit that can't do anything to, like, flying all over the place, grapple canceling, and shooting actual, like, suns at bosses, but... You know. They could make it a little more interesting early on. And the problem is, like, the biggest problem, I would say, is that there's nothing interesting outside of the combat to allow for the combat to be boring early on. Like, Terraria thrives in, like, its cool late-game items, cool movement, and cool boss design. More so in Calamity. Yeah, the beginning of the game is just, like, really fucking boring and bad. And it's really hard to, like... I don't know, like, a lot of people... I'm not gonna act like Terraria's hard to get into, because it's got, like, fucking millions of people who love the shit out of it. Like Jacob, in particular, I've tried to get him to play Terraria in the past, and, like, he just can't get past that early section, because, like, admittedly, it does fucking blow. Like, it's really bad, and it's not like I can really defend it at all. Like, it does suck, but... you know? So that's what I want out of Terraria too, I guess. It's like... I don't know. I think that if they're not going to make the combat immediately interesting, because that has its problems too, right? Like, if you start the player out with more interesting movement abilities, like, what do you unlock? Maybe you shouldn't unlock movement abilities? Maybe that's too pivotal to the gameplay to hold back from the user immediately, but... If they are going to go the route of, you know, keeping things similar to the way they are now, there needs to be some other interesting layer to the game that keeps it fun in the early parts. Because, like, I don't know. Could it be related to, like, XCOM in a way? I think it can, to some degree, because, like, very early on in the modern XCOM games, you don't really have a lot of options. There's basically just, like, an objective right or wrong decision a lot of the time. And the game tries to force you into riskier positions with the time limits and stuff, but... there is like a lot more freedom with what you're doing and a lot more interesting like tactical gameplay towards the later parts of XCOM, or more so towards the mid parts of XCOM, because like honestly, I've talked about it before, but like late game XCOM and XCOM 2 usually is balanced such that you just kind of like stomp enemies and nothing stands a chance. Like, once you level up your dudes enough, they just become like killing machines, basically. But yeah, like mid-game XCOM is probably the most like interesting from the tactics, like controlling your units kind of gameplay. But it stays interesting early on by having that like research part of it and the base building part of it. And I know that there's a lot of people who don't really like that part of XCOM and think that like they would rather just have it be all tactics and stuff. But I don't know. I think it helps to keep things engaging and make it so you're actually making like meaningful decisions, though there mostly also is just an objective right decision in all of the base building things as well. It still makes it, at least for a first playthrough, more interesting in the early game where the tactical gameplay is kind of solved to a degree. You can typically play a little bit safe and be completely fine, unscathed in most missions. But I've never played XCOM with mods. Like, there's the notorious Long War mod to XCOM and XCOM 2. Never played it on either. If I was to go back to XCOM 2, which I might, I would consider doing a Long War playthrough. Though, I mean, I know it also is a lot longer, who would have thought, given the title. That's like one of my biggest issues with the XCOM games is probably that they stay their welcome a little bit. Because like, once you get your units leveled up, like I said, you are kind of just an unstoppable machine. Like a fucking solid unit that will never be injured. So yeah, the late game of XCOM 2 especially felt a little bit draggy compared to 1. The late game drags on a bit. And I've been told that Long War is, like, obviously much harder, I've heard. So that would probably keep it more interesting into the late game. But, like, I don't know, especially if it really is as much longer as I've heard it is, it's like, I don't really want it to become a grind, because that's how the current state of, like, XCOM 2, and it's been so long since I played the original, like, XCOM reboot that, I can't really speak for the end game of that one, but I remember it feeling about the same as I do about, XCOM 2. Okay, why do I keep dying over here? I need to quit that shit. Cut that shit out, dude. No one thinks it's funny. Stop dying for content. There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I would consider it for sure. I would want to look more into it, though, because I've really heard and seen very little of it. Other than knowing it makes it a lot harder. And longer. And also, like, I know it adds interesting content, too. Like, I know the original Long War added, like, multiple additional... It's the first time I've done that, but I've thought about accidentally doing that every single time. I know that the first Long War adds additional, like, classes as well, I think? So, I know it is more than just, like, balance and length. It is actually, like, cool, new stuff. So it's worth considering. God damn, dude, I just... I'm falling apart. I have no consistency kept between days. Like, I was feeling pretty good about it the last time I streamed this, but then I took a break from playing the nigh yesterday. I just did Celeste Classic 2 and Dyson Sphere. That break is all it took. I'm rusty. I mean, it still is probably not super good that I keep just not focusing on the game at all, but at the same time, like, you know. If I wasn't saying anything interesting, this would probably be about as boring as the Cetera 50 States quiz. Content-wise. But maybe I should give a handful of full focus attempts before I close it out and do some Dyson Sphere. Because I'm probably going to cut this around the 2-hour mark, even if I don't make it. I really wanted to make it today, because, like, this has just been, like, an ever-present constant in my stream, is I just can't fucking finish this. But, you know, perseverance and all that. It's still not getting to me, like, especially because I'm able to just talk over it and kind of ignore the gameplay. I don't mind doing it over and over again, like, I don't feel defeated going through the same screens constantly. I still get excited when I get close to the end of it. And, I don't know, it's kind of hard to get me super mad at video games. It has happened. Somewhat recently with Spelunky 2. God damn it. But, yeah, no. I don't get too mad. Whenever I do get mad, it's also, it's like the, I don't know. If there was to be any gamer rage, I think the most acceptable gamer rage is that of just being mad at yourself because you do something really dumb. Like, but most of the time when I do something really dumb, I just laugh at it like that. Like, very rarely do I get frustrated with my inability to do something. And especially if what I'm doing is something that's actually regarded as hard. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it. I'm fine. It's not that bad. But yeah, I definitely, like I spoke about like a few streams ago, I also get the side of not having patience for these kinds of things. Like, it would probably make me more mad at this if I wasn't okay with just, like, scheduling a few hours of this a day. Like, I'm totally fine doing that with this game until it's finished, but for people who have a very limited amount of time playing games, if, like, you spend your small amount of allotted gaming time per week doing something like this, and you've literally made no progress, or what feels like no progress, I can see how that would be frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. I also just don't play too many games that invoke frustration. Well, I don't know. A lot of people would say that this is one of those, right? I find it's a lot easier to invoke frustration in an online environment, though. Because, like, oh god, especially, like, I can definitely see the side of getting frustrated in, just didn't press the jump button. In a team game where, like, your teammate is just throwing on purpose because they think it's hilarious. Like, if you, like, it happens pretty frequently, I've seen, at least, in Rocket League. I mean, I've also played Rocket League, but whenever I've played Rocket League, I do it with friends. I've pretty much never, like, random queued Rocket League. But, yeah, no, I have seen other people do random queue, and, like, they'll go down by one goal, and then their teammate will just think it's hilarious to score own goals and fucking rage quit afterwards. I don't get that mentality, and I could definitely see frustration occurring if I cared about rank or anything in a game like that. But no, I don't know. Whenever I get frustrated with an online game, I just stop playing. I mean, that's the original impetus for me no longer playing Lethal League Blaze online with randos. It was partially burnout and partially, like, just frustration, because I was like, this is, like, I'm at a fucking wall. Like, it really felt like, at the level I was at, all of the competition was just so much farther ahead of me. Like, there were, towards the end of my competitive Lethal League Blaze career, the gap in skill was just, like, so monstrously large that, I felt very, very little motivation to continue playing the game. And that's typically what happens with me in fighting games as well, and like any online game, I guess. There are very few online games that I actually played long enough to get quote-unquote competitive. That being Lethal League Blaze, Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear Xrd, when it first came out. Are those the three? Those might be the only three. I think that's it. I might be forgetting some obvious ones, but those are the ones that come to mind. Yeah, I don't know, man. Does it count? Do the Zachtronics games count? I guess to some degree. I was competitive in online Zachtronics. You know what? Exapunks actually had like a head-to-head game mode. I don't remember if it was online, though. I don't think it was. I think it was just, like... I don't know, it was weird. It was weird the way it was set up. I did very little of that. I just know that it had some form of head-to-head. I think it was only against AI, though. I don't think there was any online functionality with it. But it was kind of set up similarly to something like Core Wars, which I know is, like, a reference fucking 2 people will ever get. But I had some fun with Core Wars as well. Core Wars is just like a really interesting thing. Like, if you like Zachtronics games, I would implore anyone interested in like code optimization and stuff to that degree to look up what Core Wars is. I don't know. It's like a very small community. I'm not sure how active it is. I never actually got involved with the community. I just toyed around with it on my own and like made little programs to fight against each other. But conceptually it's really cool. It's basically like you have a like grid which is called the core, and basically like every cell on the grid is like one piece of memory, and you write little assembly programs that execute on the core, and your program itself is placed into the core as like memory. Like, it overwrites the raw data. I mean, it starts out as like null, obviously. It overwrites the null data with your code randomly. Like, it'll just randomly put it in the core. And the way the core is set up is so that it's like arrayed from 0 to however big the core is set up to. And at the end, unlike normal memory, at the end it loops back to the front. I mean, I guess not like unlike normal memory. Like, if you had an array, you could set it up as such. But anyways, so yeah, it's really cool. You basically just have 2 programs that go off against each other in the core, and you can eliminate your enemy through various ways. Or you could just play it out for a draw, which does happen somewhat frequently. But because like you can manipulate the core's memory, basically however you see fit, and you can't like, there's no multi-threading. Like, you can't split your program off into like a parallel like coding chunk, but you can like alternate between code brains. Like, there's terminology for it if you look up the I mean, what Core Wars is, and like I think it's called Red Code is the assembly language they use. But anyways, yeah, you can't have like parallel code, but you can split your execution to a different part of the core, and it'll just alternate between executing your original and the one that you split off into. And so yes, you can have like a program that replicates itself to multiple positions over the core, and that's like, you know, one of the 3 major strategies. It's like, there's replicating, there is, like, I guess just teleporting would be the other. I forget, there's just a straight up rock, paper, scissors as far as strategy goes, and there's things you can do to, like, combat that, like modern Core Wars has, like, an additional data type that is, like, it's a meta data type outside of the core that lets you tell your program certain meta information that original Core Wars did not have. But anyways, the 2 ones that I'm remembering are, like, replicating your program all over the place, and just straight up, like, trying to delete the enemy by, like, overwriting it with other data, or just, like, nullifying it, you know? But it's cool and interesting if you're into that kind of thing. I think that, like, most people interested in Zachtronics games would probably think that Core Wars is pretty interesting as well. But very small community. There are, like, at least when I checked in on it, like, years ago, there was, like, a semi-active community that would, like, regularly kind of hold little mini tournaments where you would pit your programs off against each other. Please don't kill me, you son of a bitch. So it seems fun, but I didn't get too into it. I just got into it to the level where I understood how it worked and thought it was neat, but wasn't going to make a hobby of it. That's where I am on... It's where I am on most things, honestly. Except sports. Ew. Gross. Bunch of sweaty dudes running around. Making me think things. I'm sorry. I had to double down on that because I started off by talking about sweaty dudes. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. Is there a reason for me not being into sports other than just, like, I don't know, like, am I fucking crazy? Oh, I'm fucking stupid for one. That's it for Tandis Nigh. I'm gonna finish my sports topic and I'm gonna move to Dyson Sphere Program because that game eats up all conversation because I am just constantly mumbling about what I'm trying to do in the game. I think sports are boring because, I don't know, games are just more fun. There you go, that's my entire intricate, well-thought-out point. Damn it, dude. I can't believe I am continuing. I not even... Did I not make any progress? I didn't even make it to the farthest screen I've ever made it. Like, I didn't even catch up to where I used to be. Embarrassing. Alright. I never even talked about how ugly my overlay was today. My ugly-ass neon yellow with purple. I don't know, just thought I'd be quirky. Just thought I'd be a quirky little guy.